As an artist, being challenged all the time is the most important thing. I'm always looking for a new concept. I'm always looking for a new way of looking at something. The only possible way that I can continue being excited is risk.
A mess. I always start like this, yeah.
In 2014, I entered Sky Arts Portrait Artist of the Year.
It's really exciting, but nerve-wracking at the moment.
Being on a TV show where everything can go wrong any minute, that is extremely exciting for me. You have one chance at it. And for the first 5 minutes, I was terrified, really. You know, everyone looking what I was doing.
Oh, Christian.
But once I started painting, then it's a conversation between me and the canvas. And that process is a very personal one.
Yeah.
This is pretty impressive, isn't it?
It's outstanding.
It's unbelievable.
My style impressed enough for me to win that year's competition and continue my career as a professional artist. But although I find portraiture very interesting...
Oh, my God.
The fact that I have to capture the likeness of a person is a limitation. So as an artist, what really excites me is finding new things in the mundane, really.
He's a veritable magician.
Having a different perspective on something, looking at something from a different point of view.
Lovely to meet you.
For my next project, I want to set myself the ultimate challenge of painting something which is invisible to the naked eye, love, and all the emotions that surround that.
I just see the same 16-year-old girl, like I love her.
To do this, I'm going to enlist a group of people that have more in common with artists than we think.
I think art always makes us scientists ask questions.
Scientists are in the business of exploring, of breaking down, and of finding out things.
I've never done this before.
Look at that. The handprint is super clear.
Artists are in exactly the same business. They have a symbiosis that is brilliant, really.
This is fascinating.
They are going to help me open a new doorway in art, and the results I cannot know until we finish. So the journey itself is the important part, and it's my greatest challenge yet.
One evening I was on the beach, looking at the night sky, and I had a small epiphany. I could see that there was a sequence of layers. The time it took for the light of the moon to reach my eyes, there was a small delay. And at the very last layer, you know, the really small stars have taken millions of light years to get to my eye, which means that then none of it was happening right now. And therefore, there was a disparity of time and space. And I thought, if I cannot see anything real, right, how important is what we don't see? What a great thing would be to find out about a different reality and then paint that instead of painting what is visible to the eye. If science can help me to see some of what's invisible, then it would aid and give a new meaning to the abstraction of my work. Relationships is something that we're all concerned with. And we all want to know what other people are thinking, what they're feeling, how we connect. And I thought I would love to investigate what happens in between two human beings. Dora Rozik Chendesh and Dan Joy have agreed to be the couple at the heart of this experiment in paint. Originally from Hungary, they now live in Hertfordshire and work together as complementary therapists. Hello.
Hello, lovely to meet you.
Lovely to meet you too.
They've known each other for over 30 years.
We're really excited about the project. A little bit nervous, yeah. Maybe excitement would be a more appropriate word.
I guess everybody's nervous on the first days, and then as we get to know Christian a bit better, I guess it will be, you know, getting more and more comfortable and natural.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask you to pose for me. It'll be a semi-nude pose. I'm really going to concentrate on trying to get the connection between you and get to know you both a little bit better and know a little bit about who you are and your relationship.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I've chosen a couple that have been together a long time. They've gone through a lot together. That gives us an opportunity to investigate a plethora of emotions, and emotions are invisible.
So around there? Perfect. Before talking to scientists, I'd like to start by incorporating some of Dan and Dora's DNA into my first study.
Okay.
Spread it a little bit. In the form of blood. That's enough. And now I'm gonna have to cut a little bit of your hair. And a paintbrush made out of their combined hair. All right, thank you very much. So, there we have it, the Dora and Dan brush. This is the first time I paint with human hair.
So we feel honored.
It's an experiment. We'll see what happens.
All right.
So I'm gonna pose you. So if you can just lean against him. I want something natural. Yeah. And you slightly facing this way. That's better. That's exactly what I want. Yeah?
Okay.
We'll just get started now.
So how does it feel?
It's great. It's not like a real brush, but the point of it is to get your DNA somehow in the painting, so it's an authentic scientific thing. By using Dan and Dora's hair as a brush, I'm already exploring a new way. Instead of using paint, I've used blood, using science already. There's already DNA in the work. I'm already joining them somehow in the painting. There, they'll be together forever. And that's like another, creative idea that's embodied in the work. So how did you guys meet?
Wow.
That's a bit of a story. So we've known each other since we were 15 years old.
Wow.
We were first teenage loves for each other.
So we dated when we were 16 first.
Incredible.
But then life took us on very, very different journeys. So we only reconnected after 21 years. And then we got married. That's the nutshell version,
So
but there's so much
very-
more detail in there.
What was your first attraction to each other? How did you?
I don't even remember, it was so long ago. Part of it is something that is really hard to put into words. And it's just really being attracted to each other's beingness or something that is beyond words. But also, I love his blue eyes. and he was really crazy. When we were teenagers, he was just one of the odd ones in the class.
And I think the word that came for me now was her innocence. When she was 15 and 16, there was this innocence, I guess.
So what do you guys do for a living?
We both are complementary therapists.
Right.
And we do a special type of Hawaiian massage, which is called lomi lomi. I also work 2 nights a week as a pizza delivery guy.
Do you?
Yes.
So what do you think about the project? Do you find it interesting?
Yeah, definitely. Very
Definitely,
exciting. You know, looking into how energy between two people can be expressed and the unseen, how the unseen can be expressed.
Yeah.
So that's very much what we do in our work or in our hobbies or in our
That's
interests.
fantastic.
Also, I think as a couple, it's a little bit maybe challenging as well situation to be in, and we are curious how it would be for both of us to go through this journey.
I think I'm done. The piece
Wow,
and
yeah.
everything.
Can't wait.
see it, yeah.
So there you go.
Hey. Wow. Oh my goodness.
It's
Wow.
amazing.
So I've managed to.
That is very amazing.
Yeah,
It's
I've managed to try to make sure that you could see, like your head going into the blood marks that you had.
Yeah.
And in the sleeve, can you see the
Brush.
strokes? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's done with both your hair.
Amazing.
Wow.
Totally amazing.
It's the beginning of our quest for
Yeah.
the mix between realism and complete abstraction with science. You know?
Beautiful. And you were quite merciful with my tummy.
What I find interesting about Dan and Dora is that the timeline of their relationship has been a jagged one. This feeds into my own fascination with time and layering. One of my personal heroes in this field is the physicist Carlo Rovelli, and it's a privilege to have a chance to meet him. Carlo Rovelli's book, The Order of Time, blew my mind. It tries to explain abstract concepts that we cannot grasp, like, for example, the past, the future, and the present happen at the same time. But most importantly, he is studying the invisible. And any insight into the invisible is going to help me with this project. Thank you for having me here.
Great having you here.
And I read your book, The Order of Time. It really, really inspired me because as well as being scientific, it's very artistic and very poetic. And I found that super inspiring.
I've always thought that art and science and philosophy, they're all different ways of try to construct tools for thinking about reality.
Yeah.
And the influence is constant, and the more there is influence, the more they nourish each other.
Yeah.
Because we need ideas, we need creativity, we need new ways of thinking.
One of your quotes was, "We are made of the same atoms and the same light signals as the exchange between pine trees in the mountains and stars in the galaxies." So
Yeah.
I found that really inspiring because it relates things from the universe to us, you know? And I'm trying to paint the relationship between two people.
Yeah, there are two ideas in that quote. One is that we are the same stuff as the things around us. We're not different from nature. We're not so different from a forest in the mountains or from a galaxy in the universe. And the second one is that what we have in common is that a galaxy, it's mostly made of the relations between stars, the signals that the stars keep exchanging, the way they're influencing one another continuously. So reality is not made by object. It's made by the way objects interact with one another.
Yeah.
So if I think of myself, I'm not Carlo, this just bunch of atoms, period. That's not me. I am the look you have on me, the memory my mother have about me, what I know about my friends, what my friends knows about me. So we are made by relations. And of course, in a relationship between two people who love one another, this exchange is particularly strong because it's continuously.
Yes.
So if you want to describe John and Anne, and you just describe John and just describe Anne, you're missing the entire story. Because the entire story is the two of them together.
And that's exactly what I am attempting to do now. At the end of the day, we are emotional creatures.
I think
more than
so.
anything
I
else.
agree with you.
And I know the book is called The Order of Time, but the beginning of the book, the idea that the past is not actually behind us and the present almost doesn't exist in some way, and that the future is not in front of us, but there is a layering. So it's basically about the topic of entropy, which is, in a very simple terms, from some kind of order to some kind of disorder.
Yeah, entropy is a very central thing in physics, but it's not something easy and simple. It's a way of talking about our lack of knowledge.
Right.
The reason we distinguish the past from the future, the reason we have this sense of flowing time, it's related to this blurring of reality that we describe with entropy. So the notion of entropy somehow, it's how many things we miss when we see the world. I think what Christian is trying to do is the core of what art is, showing, capturing the complexity of what's in front of us, which is much more than what a simple camera could capture. The richness of reality, the many layers of reality.
It's my second day with Dan and Dora, and for this session, I want to explore one of the fundamentals of any relationship: touch. As complementary therapists, the couple are very familiar with the sensory power of physical contact. So if you kind of lie, yeah, as if you were gonna massage, and you can, yeah, something like this.
Okay.
To get to the science beneath the skin,
Well, she's got very cold fingers here,
Yeah.
Dora, hasn't she?
I have enlisted the help of Dr. Helen Chersky.
I'm a physicist. I'm based at University College London, and I became interested in thermal imaging cameras as soon as I saw one because they are such amazing toys. You know, we are very arrogant as humans. We assume that our senses can see everything that's around us. And it isn't, and there's all this other stuff going on, and these are the windows into the way the world works. And so from a human point of view, I love thermal imaging cameras for that insight into the physics that's right there that you can't see.
Energy is released in heat, and in the painting I would like to try and find all the places that are emitting energy whilst they're connecting.
So this is a lovely tool for your project because what a thermal camera can do is look at the colours that we can't see. And there's a fundamental law of physics in the universe that says whenever something has a temperature, it emits light in a very specific colour. Now, we can't see those colours, but every colour corresponds to a temperature. So the universe is giving us a thermometer that we can't see, but the thermal camera can see. And that's the great thing here, that when we look at a human on a thermal camera, we are seeing them in temperature. This is an image written in heat.
So the purple means that her hand is really cold.
Yes.
But his elbow has become really hot now.
Yeah.
So it's bright yellow, yeah?
Underneath, yeah. Well, we're losing heat all the time. So
Right.
if you keep two warm things together, they'll keep each other warm.
Right.
And also Dora's nose here. Your nose is always cool.
It's gone really purple.
Because you're breathing air in and out, it's cooling your nose down.
Yeah.
So you can see very clearly the temperature differences. And of course, the thing here is at the moment when they're still like this, it's hidden. Because you can't see the connection because it's hidden underneath. But if Dan moves his left hand just now, takes it off Dora's skin, look at that. The handprint is super clear because his hand was keeping her warm underneath by being in contact with it.
So can you turn further this way so I can see your hands on her back? Yeah, that's it. Perfect.
When the skin is next to each other like that, they're keeping each other warm there. And you can see all along Dora's arm where she's been touched, you can see it's warmer down here than just above.
Right.
We think of touch as a thing that's this instant now, but actually what's happening here is we can see it leaves a message for longer.
Right.
Past that initial touch.
Right.
One of the things I love about your project is that it really highlights how much richer the world is than we imagine. And it highlights how many more ways of seeing the world that there are.
While technology can reveal fascinating insights into what's happening beneath the surface, I'm also curious to see through the eyes of people who experience the world in different ways. Synesthesia is a neurological condition whereby the senses become merged, meaning you experience one sense through another. Synesthete Cece Hart has agreed to come along to our sittings so that I can add her unique perspective to my studies.
I have 17 different forms of synesthesia. All of my numbers and letters appear in color. All of my words appear in color. I feel sound on my skin. I see touch as color and pattern. And so it's a very unusual experience to have synesthesia. The world has another layer of color, texture, pattern to it.
While it's thought to affect 1 in 2,000 people, as many as 1 in 300 may have a variant of the condition.
So there's a pattern that Dan makes with his fingertips when he's touching Dora. And it appears to me as azure blue dots with a silver ring around it. It also is a slightly arced shape.
Is there any pattern or color between them?
That they share together?
Yes, that they share.
Yeah, there's, can you see right here where their arms are touching? There's sort of an orange, I don't know how to describe the shape. It's almost like a starburst. And it's the color of a sunset. It's orange with a little bit of pink. It's interesting to me because that's the color that I see the word love in. And it's luminescent. It's like it's lit from behind. Bright.
It's so interesting. I don't believe it. You can see so many things. It's incredible. So you mentioned you could see the color of love.
Yes.
So would it be a dark shade or a light shade?
It's light.
This is like a
creamy orange, like that, like a sherbet or
like
ice cream.
Yeah. That's why I've used the cold red instead of the warm red.
That's pretty. It seems like it might need a little bit more pink.
Yeah.
the contact of their bodies evokes that color.
The connection.
The pressure and the connection.
So do you see it as a sharp color, or has it got gradation?
It has gradation and it becomes diffuse.
So it would be around here.
Right in through there? Yes, exactly.
And try and get it to fade in a little bit so that it's not so sharp.
Yes. It would also have a little bit of a filament-like quality, like little tiny, just little filaments in there. That's it. That's it.
Really?
That's it, yes.
Fantastic.
I think an important point is that there's a lot of science underneath the understanding of synesthesia, that we can put someone like me, a synesthete, in a functional MRI and see that our brains work differently than the brains of people who don't have synesthesia.
Right.
So it's a scientifically documented neurocognitive difference that includes, for many people, a lot of color, texture, pattern with things like emotion, contact, forms of words, about 150 different forms of synesthesia.
Incredible.
And you've captured a few of them today.
Thank you. I'm not surprised to have learned that Van Gogh is thought to have had synesthesia, and David Hockney has revealed that he sees sound in color. CC's insights will allow me to provide a new layer to my paintings of Dan and Dora. So there you go.
Wow.
Basically, it's both of you holding each other. There's no heads, obviously.
Yeah. And which one was the color of love that she saw? She mentioned
Right
some.
back there, Cici saw that color over there, which was that peachy color. That was the color of love, she said. Also, the thermal cameras have given me the points of heat. So this is a great piece of information for me to take back and work on. Every time I meet a new person that can see the unseen, or a new scientist, and I gain a new way of seeing connection, it makes the project a lot more interesting and a lot more exciting for myself. So a day like today, where we have two different things happening and where I've started to actually see connection, is fantastic. I moved away from conventional portraiture a while back because I felt constrained by the need to deal with physical likeness. What excites me about being an artist is finding new perspectives, different ways of looking.
To find newness in anything, you have to break the norm.
I'm not the first artist to be interested in the intersection between art and science. Today I'm visiting London's National Portrait Gallery to meet Dr. Georgia Hasseldine, a curator who is going to show me a work from a very well-known artist who shares my interest.
We think of this as the most abstract portrait within the National Portrait Gallery's collection because most of our other portraits will always rely on the face. And the face is the kind of the window into the soul, that this is how we know a person is through likeness. Whereas this commission that came about between Mark Quinn and Sir John Sulston, Quinn, the artist, really wanted to find a way that he could take the scientific processes that have made Sulston famous. He's a top Nobel-winning geneticist. He worked on the Human Genome Project, and to use that as a way to portray him. So some semen was donated by Sir John Sulston, and they extracted the DNA with a certain chemical. They then broke it down randomly into segments, and they placed those segments into some bacterial cells that grew rapidly across this agar jelly plate.
Right.
And at the point that Quinn, the artist, was happy with it, they then applied a chemical that froze the bacterial growth and have kept it in this current state.
So how do people react to it in the gallery?
When it first went on display, we interviewed lots of visitors about how they felt when they saw this picture. And what I think was the overwhelming response was that this was a very thought-provoking question about what portraiture is. What is it about a person a portrait is supposed to capture, and what role does an artist play in capturing that likeness?
I find this really interesting because the whole point of a portrait really is to capture the essence of the person. And there is no face in it, but I don't believe that there has to be an actual face for a portrait. We identify people through many different ways. So it's a very interesting piece of work. I loved seeing Mark Quinn's portrait because it uses science to get right to the heart of what a portrait can be.
I think that artists and scientists have a lot in common. They're both constantly trying to find out things, you know, trying to discover something new. The unraveling of the unknown is the exciting bit. It's where they both can come together, you know, and work together towards something.
For the third sitting with Dan and Dora, I want to delve deeper and find out more about their relationship, what they've been through, and the ups and downs of their journey together. So I'm going to sit you both down away from each other, and I'll be asking you some questions about your relationship today. Okay. Once again, the focus will be to show their emotional connection rather than concentrating on a likeness. I've just done a few Japanese paintings which have necklines and I like them.
That, yeah.
So I want to... Okay, perfect. You told me that you met as teenagers. Can you tell me a little bit more about the trajectory of your relationship?
Well, the first shock for me when Daniel broke up with me. And then we journeyed separately for 21 years.
I think we might mention that when we broke up in high school, we were so crossed that for 7 years we didn't talk. So even if we've been sitting in the same room, we just didn't answer to each other, didn't talk.
Right.
Yeah, so after 7 years, we started talking again, and then over the many years, we always felt that there was an inexplicable, palpable relationship or just some kind of deep, deep connection between the two of us. But we never really dared to explore it more until 2012, yeah, when kind of life circumstances brought us back together and we became a couple.
So after the euphoric start that you had and the re-encountering of each other and the falling completely in love, did you ever go through almost splitting up again?
Oh yes, big time. Well, about 1.5, 2 years after I moved to the UK, we went through a crisis. I guess you can call it a relationship crisis. And as it's often the case, it went together with a financial crisis. And so there was this summer 2.5 years ago when Dora asked me if I could move out for 3 months.
So how did you manage to work it out?
In a way, it wasn't a conscious decision, but we separately came to, realization that the relationship that we have and how we are still very committed to each other.
So when I moved back in, we went through this healing of our relationship, which is still in process, so we wouldn't say that we are done. So it's still happening, or it's still an ongoing process.
For me, it's very much about unconditional acceptance. Like how can you accept the other person without wanting to change them?
So do you think that knowing each other for this long has helped the relationship or not?
Obviously, when we went through this whole crisis and we met each other's shadows, or the financial crisis, so Dora see me like really the worst of me or in me, like with 3 master's degrees, becoming a pizza delivery guy. So really the crap, like the hardcore stuff that is not easy to see someone. And then she's also seen me being successful or doing well with projects, or when Time Out enlisted us as one of the best massages in London. So really the peak experiences. And so then it will just quite naturally create a bond. Like the really immediate one, just this morning as part of the filming, and we've been walking outside and she was jumping. And now I just feel that, my eyes just start to cry from there. Because when she's jumping on the street like this, I just see the same 16-year-old girl, like I love her. And it's probably, part of a relationship that we just had so
so colorful experiences together. Some of them just going back to our childhood or when we were teenagers.
Just as Carlo Rovelli said about us being formed through time by our relationships, what I find interesting is that when Dan started to cry whilst talking about Dora, it wasn't for that moment, rather a remembered past. Tears will play their part in many enduring relationships, and even teardrops can reveal something unique about the person that sheds them. Dutch scientist Maurice Mikkers has, like me, been drawn to the artistic possibilities that presents.
All tears are always different. Your physiology of your body and the moment in time that you shed your tears, together with the external factors like humidity and temperature, will create such a unique little artwork that would represent that moment in your life. Like you're feeling like terrible. And then at that moment, for example, you shed a tear, you capture it, but it's so unique that it will only represent that moment in time.
Spurred on by his studies, since 2015, Maurice has been creating works of art from tears. So Maurice, how did you become interested in the study of tears?
Well, while I was working at the lab, I always saw a lot of beautiful things through the microscope. And after a couple of years, I decided to combine my studies of science and arts to look at things through a microscope that people would normally not see or talk about. So I thought tears would be an interesting story because we all have emotions, we all cry. So I thought, like, what happens if I would get a tear from myself, I place it underneath the microscope, and you will see it yourself. It's like, wow, how can my body create something so beautiful?
Yeah.
It's like art created by nature. It's a unique moment.
I'd asked Dan and Dora to collect their tears over the previous fortnight. And Maurice starts by putting one of Dan's tears under the microscope. I love the fractals that look like ferns or something. It's like a landscape. They're in crisscross shape all the time.
Yeah. And they're really short. They're not too long.
Yeah. But I see there's a pattern like all the time in the crisscrossing of them.
It's more like a small leaf.
Yeah.
Like almost like sort of a maple leaf-ish shape. So now we are looking at Dora's tears, and we can already see the difference.
Yeah.
The structures seem to be way clearer. The crystals are grown bigger.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see
see
over
them
here,
there,
it's like way more dense.
Yeah. There's a greater overlap on hers as well.
Oh, and over here,
And
wow.
here she has formations that are circular as well, a lot of them. So his was more like a crisscross, and this is more like a star shape. Yeah.
And that also means, like, every time we do this, that every tear has its own unique story. So the person that sheds these tears has his or her unique artwork created by their body, by their emotions of that moment.
I'm keen to include Dan and Dora's actual tears into the painting.
Just squeeze it fully?
As another way of incorporating their combined DNA. And now I'm going to do some of the patterns that I've seen. So I'm going to dip this in paints.
Fascinating how you perceive the tears and let them evolve in something like this, because people often talk about seeing fern shapes, but actually using it to paint with is beautiful.
Thank you. So I'm having a few more strands on Dan because he was actually crying and shedding tears whilst he was talking. Well, Maurice, thank you very much for your collaboration. I loved what you've shown me.
Including me in this research is something, for me, also very interesting because I've never done this before. And therefore, thank you very much.
Thank you. Meeting Maurice and seeing his enthusiasm on the study of teardrops was incredible. Each one has a landscape of emotion inside of them that can only happen once. And I find that completely fascinating and mind-blowing. My next stop is Imperial College London, where I'll be meeting Dr. Aldo Faisal, Professor of Neuroscience. Aldo heads up the Brain and Behavior Lab, developing insights into the workings of the brain. He's agreed to monitor the brain activity of Dan and Dora as they embrace and dance.
So Aldo, what is this headset?
So this headset measures the brain waves, so the electrical activity of the brain.
Yeah.
And it allows us to capture, to a certain extent, thoughts and processes, and allows us to visualize the brain activity.
If they kiss, what will I see that's not really presently visible to the naked eye?
So quite honestly, I'm not sure, because I don't think this was ever measured before,
Right.
kissing couples' brain activity using EEG. But I think we may be able to see things whether kissing triggers memories, or whether it triggers some sort of thought processes,
Right.
or whether it triggers sensory emotions or sensory signals. So guys, if you can start kissing, please. He is seeing Dora's brain activity as a live stream.
Right.
What we're showing you here are the 4 most characteristic brainwaves studied in neuroscience. Down here, you see Dora's brain in the alpha wave range, which is a measure of how concentrated a person is.
Right.
Here in the beta range, again, these brainwaves have many interpretations, but an important one is related to movement. Up here in the delta range, people have studied this mainly in sleep setting, but generally we can say something about delta being related to, how shall I say, relaxation of a state. And up here in the theta range, we're seeing brain activity related anywhere between drowsiness and alertness.
Right.
So here you see very interestingly how alertness and brain activity goes up in the theta band. And there's interestingly a lot in the delta wave that's moving, especially from the frontal brain areas.
Right.
I mean, as I said, I've never seen kissing data before, but this is fascinating.
And the parts that are lighting up,
Yeah.
they seem to be pretty equal around, no?
So that's, you could say the whole brain is active, especially here in the back of the head. We're seeing a lot of activity related to visual perception,
Right.
or potentially also visual recall of perception.
Right.
In the frontal areas, it's about concentration and logic and memory recall.
I see that
potentially.
the theta is the most active. So really what I want to see is Dan's activity on the theta, really.
It's interesting to see that the theta activity is more lateralized to the right-hand side of the brain.
Yeah.
And similarly in the alpha range, you have also lateralization. And this could mean it has to do with the left-hand side of his body. It could mean it has to do with certain areas of his brain that are lateralized on one side and the other, like language or spatial relationships. But it is striking. I would have not expected it to be so much in the theta domain. And I think this is, when arts and science come together, I think arts always makes us scientists ask questions that we've not thought about. And I think this merits further investigation.
What could have happened was that the brains of the 2 subjects would have not reacted to each other. What was surprising is how visible, literally visible in the live stream of the data was, that when they were interacting with each other, there was a whole different connection. We saw a lot of right side of the brain activation, which we associate with emotional and intuitional thoughts, so to speak. But we are also seeing certain brainwave bands, so certain types of brainwaves that are associated with relaxation basically peak up. And similarly also when they were then dancing together, we saw these brainwaves related to movement coming more to the foreground. And I thought this was a beautiful symbol of the relationship.
So what's that dancing? What is it that we can see?
So I think what's very interesting is here that we're seeing similar patterns of theta and alpha activities that we saw also in the kissing part of the experiment. What I think is interesting, of course, that you see more beta-related activity, which is also associated very much with movement. We would expect if there was mainly a body movement signal, that then it would be on the left side because they're very right-centered. But we're seeing always this right-hand side coordination, so which may appeal to other lateralized processes, maybe creativity or imagination, or maybe other things that we need to investigate in more depth. Christian's vision of combining science to drive art is fantastic. Sometimes arts and science is seen very much as a separated, different thing in different camps. But I think what we've seen today is that if you bring these 2 together, they can mutually inspire. Wow, this looks beautiful.
Thank you, Aldo.
It's just fascinating to see how you took what we just saw in the scientific study and in translating that into something very, very beautiful, very aesthetic.
I've always been interested in emotion. I've always been interested in time and space, and the dancing to the music and the different scientific results that I've got from here will help me to create more interesting and more informed paintings of human emotion and human interaction.
Right. I was born in Gibraltar, where I still live. I love it here. The climate, the scenery, and the fusion of cultures make it a perfect place to work as an artist.
Con this really famous guy, and now...
In 2017, I was incredibly honored to be given the freedom of the city for my accomplishments in the arts. Painting is a very personal thing. I've always thought that if I don't like what I'm doing, how is anybody else going to like it? It all has to be a reflection of who I am. So every piece of work is a portrait of me first. If I'm not true to myself, then I'm not going to get the excitement in the work. Every one of these ideas, there's still small sketches at the initial kind of stages. Each of these are about a conversation between each other or about a feeling. I choose one of the two, and they still haven't had the science added to it. So they're in a process being developed. This is what the synesthesist gave me, the drawings that she did whilst we were with Dan and Dora. I'm planning on using most of them, but obviously I'll change some of it. There'll be an interpretation of them. But it's a good guide for me to create an abstraction in the works. After a few months of failures, I started to work with one idea that Carlo Rovelli talked about, which was blurring in the universe. So I started, blurring things and working with layers, and I found a way on one of them to marry this. Sometimes I spend 12, even 13 or 14 hours in the studio. I don't get anything done. Because I change something, it doesn't work, I start again. The biggest challenge that I've had is to merge the information from the scientists with my own idea, and that the negotiation has been difficult. Maybe one of the paintings has taken months to complete. I work really fast, but it's not about finishing. It's about trying to portray a feeling.
I'm never, ever, ever happy with any piece. There's always an alternative. The decisions that I make, you know, they are from the gut. They are like the painting is changing all the time. It's knowing when to stop. Could I have taken it a bit further up? Should I have stopped a bit earlier on? And when am I happy with it? Never. But there is a point in the artwork where I feel that I've said enough. So for a year, I've been working intensely, constantly on this project. A lot of hard work in it, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and it's a really emotional process. Obviously, when people come to see it the first time, there is that element of suspense, of nerves, because it's the first time I'm seeing people reacting to the work. Amongst the guests marking the opening of the exhibition, I've invited some of the scientists who helped me on my journey, including Dr. Helen Chersky, who revealed a hidden world using thermal imaging. This piece over here is called Lava, and it's based on thermal imaging. As Dan touched Dora's skin, the heat would make the orange on the camera.
It was really striking, wasn't it?
It's really bright. It also showed that the skin has its own way of connecting to another person. You know, when we actually have physical contact with someone.
And we carry it with us, which is kind of nice, isn't it?
Yeah, we carry it with us. So this piece has a layer underneath of light that shows that kind of dynamic happening. This is how the thermal imaging thing, what it does, it gives it where you touch, you have all the light.
Oh, that's really clever. And it's interesting because it looks like it's got lots of things coming from the inside, that it's coming from the inside out.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's what you intended or not.
That's the intent. It's always going to be interpretation only. The scientific part of this whole experiment is collecting the data from the different scientists and then disassembling it and assembling it in some poetic manner, you know?
But it's good because I think there is poetry in science. It's just how you see it. Exactly. And that's why it's great to have your contribution, because we might not be able to express the poetry that we see, but if we can explain some of it to you, then you can express it, and then and then we all benefit.
I've had a holistic approach in the work, so I've kind of tried to interpret each scientist's point of view on all the pieces, you know? In this one in particular, Dan and Dora were dancing with each other, and when they were back to back, they couldn't see each other, but their brainwaves matched. Before, they were unmatched, and afterwards, they were unmatched. So only at a certain moment did they actually get to match, yeah?
That was also surprising to us to see that matching of the data, yeah.
And then you have Carlos Rovelli's view on blurring, which is, when particles become very, very small, there is no difference between a space and solid, and everything becomes one. So, and they were a couple, so there's the blurring in the painting as well.
I love the blurring. You know why? Because when we do science, we never look at the individual. And so all our human subjects look blurred like this. And I think you've just brought that out in a beautiful way.
Thank you. And I guess in physics, you cannot see everything. You cannot see the whole thing. Something always stays outside. So that's why there's always a box beside each painting. Here you can see the brainwaves breaking up,
Yeah.
Because nothing is consistent, everything is in constant flux. And I wanted to show that part as well in the work.
Science is always reductionistic. It makes things as simple as possible. And so when we did the study with the dancing, no one had looked at it before. So the fact that we got all these effects that we saw where everything was on one brain side and the other, and things flipped, I think it captures this in a beautiful new way. This is great.
Thank you very much. My guests seem to be enjoying the work, but there are two special people who made this project possible. Dan and Dora, who were so generous with their time and laid themselves bare emotionally.
Wow. Wow. Oh my goodness.
Us everywhere.
Stunning. I was not anticipating this, really. Hey,
Cheers.
hello.
Hey. Lovely to see you again.
Nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
So,
This is phenomenal.
shall we go and have a look at the
Yes, definitely.
I remember you saying what you remembered about her was her innocence. So this piece is called Innocence, and the synesthesists saw innocence as a shape.
I mean, it's mind-blowing, really. It's amazing.
So this one here is called entropy. The universe goes from order to disorder all the time, and the relationship went from some kind of order to some kind of disorder to some kind of order again. So that's there. There's like order in the middle, and then disorder at the top, and then order again. There's obviously a scientific part and an emotional part from you guys that come together, you know, in each piece, and I've tried to express it that way.
Christian, this
Wow.
is genius.
It's mind-blowing. It is really, for me, it is beyond words. It's completely beyond what I've ever imagined.
It's quite hard to get the smile off my face, so yeah, really, I just look around and like, wow.
It put different aspects of our relationship into different perspectives that maybe we haven't seen before or we haven't reflected on before. So it certainly lit up a few lights over our long journey together.
So guys, remember the study I did at the very beginning?
Yes.
With your own blood.
Yeah, we did.
So I've got it here, and I want you to have it as a gift.
Whoa!
Oh my goodness.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
So thank you for everything, and it's been a great collaborating with you.
Yes,
and,
it was. Thank you,
Well,
Christian.
Thank you so much.
so
This is going
much.
to be an absolutely special memory
It
of
is.
this whole journey that we did together.
Thanks a lot. I think this is probably my most important work, because I've had the chance to collaborate with a completely different field, the field of science, and the results could have never come from myself. They are a complete collaboration between my imagination and the findings of these scientists, and I think that the merging of both has opened a new door.
Cut it out before we throw the towel and break each other, feel it out. Before we go cast the first stone, weigh it out. When passion burns us from its underside, breathe it out. We both have lost it all before.